Hello everybody, Minus here, and we are now past the halfway mark with our class updates as we dig into the class changes for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, which were unveiled via their website update on August 30th, 2020. So join us in centering our chakra as we seek out harmony within Pantheon's Monk. So starting at the top of the page in the general description, the Monk's class role has changed from melee DPS, off-tanking, and utility to now just damage. Now we've seen this across the board from all classes as Visionary Realms has really cleaned up the roles to be more concise. Particularly I think this is helpful for newer players to understand a class's main purpose. Resources for the Monk have changed quite a bit. Previously, the only resource listed was Chakra 6 gates. Now, however, the new website lists Endurance, Chi/Chakra gates, whereas the previous website had no mention of Chi at all. The available armor is listed as light leather on the new site, which aligns properly with the old site with one small exception. On the old site, there was a hint of a monk-specific martial armor. This could still exist, but there's no mention of it on the new site. Weapons have taken a rather large change, and I know Haya may be slightly unhappy about this. Previously, it was listed that a monk could use hand-to-hand martial weaponry and most blunt weapons, as well as shurikens. Now it lists martial fists, weapons, and hand wraps, effectively removing the ability to use blunt weapons. I know that Haya was a huge fan of being a staff monk. It'll be interesting to hear his take on this. Also, shurikens, much like throwing daggers on the rogue, have been removed. The available races for the Monk have stayed the same, listing Archai, Darkmere, Human, and Scar. So let's jump into the new and changed abilities for the Monk, and there's quite a bit here. So first is a new ability called Secret of the 6 Gates. This is a passive ability that states, when you receive damage that would kill you, you will avoid death and be healed for a percentage of your total health. This cannot occur more than once a minute. So depending on the chance of this proccing, this is an incredible ability for a Monk. I imagine a large, widespread AoE shot that's meant to take people out, and the Monk survives it naturally. I'm very interested to see how this plays out and how it can be used to the Monk's advantage. Flurry Punch has been renamed just Flurry and changed slightly. Flurry now does a succession of strikes dealing physical damage, but now has a high chance of interrupting your target. Keta of the Flickering Flame has now changed its name to Flickering Flame Keta. It is also changed from simply dealing damage and reducing hate to now putting an enemy into 2 different states, disoriented and fatigued. Union is a brand new ability which allows you to restore a percentage of your total health over a short period of time. Keta of the Wandering Wind has become Ebb and Flow, and does the same thing in increasing dodge and counterattack chance greatly. Another new ability is Second Sight. This allows you to sense the flow of chi around you, enabling the Monk to see certain beings that are invisible to the naked eye. Backflip, another new ability added to the Monk's repertoire, allows you to perform a backflip out of harm's way and avoid all physical attacks for 2 seconds. Kick of the Raging Gale has been renamed Raging Gale Kick and changed slightly. It no longer lists that it will knock an enemy backwards and instead says you charge up your surge of chi and release a devastating flying kick to a nearby enemy. As we've stated in the past, it sounds like that knockback could be a nice little mastery upgrade. Inner Fountain has changed in description a bit, which could align with some of the class restructuring. This ability now instantly generates full chi and finishes the cooldown on Gate of Release. Previously it said it would fill your chakra and open all 6 gates. This takes us to our final ability, another new one, called Gates of Release. This seems to be a big ability and states, burn your chi like fuel, making you immune to all healing and crowd control effects. When Gate of Release is open, your attack speed, physical damage, critical strike, and critical damage will greatly increase. Additionally, you will lose a percentage of your total HP every second until the Gate of Release closes. Wow. This may be one of the most badass cooldowns in all of Pantheon. It is a huge risk versus reward spell or ability, and I imagine if a player can use this well, it will make a huge difference between a good and a great Monk player. Now let's talk about the missing or removed abilities, and before we do, let's preface it with this. These abilities are no longer listed on the site, but the site also states that this is not a full list of abilities. So these removed abilities could come back in a variety of ways. They could come back changed, they could come back as mastery add-ons, or maybe they can be fully removed. So just keep that in mind as we cover them. First is Elbow Strike, which was a quick melee strike. Rising Moon Kick was a powerful kick that deals high damage, and if used within 10 seconds of Setting Sun Kick, it increased your strength. Setting Sun Kick was a precise kick that slows enemy spells' casting speed. Rising Moon Kick and Setting Sun Kick were kind of a strange combo where you would use one to slow an enemy's casting speed and then gain strength if you followed it up. It was just weird because if an enemy wasn't casting, could you use the combo? Just again, very weird. Mountain Post stated that your body purges poison and disease effects and increases your armor class. Blast of Chakra would deal high damage by releasing your chakra and stun you and the enemy for 8 seconds. The Rogue had something similar to this where they would drop a vial and put themselves and enemies around them to sleep, and that has been removed at least for now. These abilities seem a little weird to me that you would stun an enemy and stun yourself. I wouldn't really hate this being removed. Harmonious Bond would perfectly align your body and soul, restoring 10% of your HP and increasing your attack speed and restoring 15% of your HP over a short time. Now, a quick note on Harmonious Bond. This ability sounds like the modification of the new ability, Union, and could easily feel like these missing components of the instant heal and increasing your attack speed could be added via the mastery system. And finally, Strike of the Wandering Mind. Inflict your enemy with all the physical damage you have taken in the last 5 seconds and heal that monk the same amount. So wow, if you're a monk fan, I feel like this update was a big one. We've heard the rumblings of monk class undergoing significant changes, and the abilities that we see here and the changes to resources are pretty big ones. And then from there, we add in the weapon type changes. Reading through all the new abilities or changes, it's apparent that the monk is more focused on damage as the class is labeled, and perhaps more so than it was previously. Add to that we no longer see off-tank in their role description, and reading the abilities on the new website would say that there isn't much that they can do with off-tanking anymore. As said before, it's quite possible these abilities could come back or we could see more off-tanking abilities, but at the moment it looks like the monk is more focused on damage. That Gate of Release spell, that looks like a badass cooldown / badass mode button. So what do you think out there, monk fans? Do you agree that the monk looks more damage focused than it had previously? Do you like the changes? And are you still worried about them being off tanks, or does it not matter to you? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll still be diving hard to complete all the class updates ASAP, so check back often over the next week. Until next time.